What's up, YouTube? We back at it again with another Magic Wand reaction. Apparently, Nancy Grace got a lot to say about Nolan Wells, so let's get straight to it.
Wells' bombshell report tonight. Does it reveal new witnesses? And because of the new timeline report, is there a timeline shift in what happened the afternoon and evening? Nolan Wells seemingly disappears. His body found washed up at Horn Island. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. What is that autopsy?
Now I really want to see the other autopsy to see, is there trauma to the body? Is there something that happened?
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
I have no doubt that what we're listening to and what she did is credible.
Not only has the timeline been analyzed by the Cajun Navy, the U.S. Cajun Navy, based on all sorts of statistical data, new photos are emerging. Take a look at this photo before we go to the Cajun Navy. Look at this.
Okay, let me look around. Boat 1, Boat X, Boat 2. I don't really know what I'm looking at. But I don't really see no black people either. And that's definitely a red flag.
Check out what you're seeing. Look at all the boats surrounding where Nolan was. Leave up the photo out to Caitlin Becker, senior national correspondent, New York Post, star of New York Postcast, their new podcast. Caitlin, what are we seeing?
Well, what we're seeing here comes from this new report from the United Cajun Navy, and you're seeing several boats strung together. This is one of the first images that we've seen of this certain configuration of boat there. They're all identified, one of which was the boat that Nolan came out there on. There's several others kind of anchored with it and tied up, which begs the question of where was Nolan when this photo was taken, because it's unclear if he's actually in it. What time was this photo actually taken? So what you're seeing here is, as you said, a potential pool of witnesses.
Hey, Caitlin, look at this. There's boat number 1. There's boat X, there's boat number 2, there's boat number 3, and there's a boat from which the photo is taken. Now, look in the water. There much has been made. Nolan Wells was drinking. Okay, well, apparently everybody was. They all have containers, open containers in the water. Okay, as far as I know, that's not a felony. No. Boat number 1, full of people. Boat X, full of people. Boat number 2, full of people. Boat number 3, full of people. People on the boat from which the photo was taken. Some of these boats.
If this is where Nolan's body was found, this raises more suspicion just because why nobody seen what happened? You get what I'm saying? The fact people are taking pictures, I know somehow, some way, it's video recording. Because it's 2026. I'm going to keep saying it. It's too many cameras out here for this not to be on camera.
Tied together. You know what that means in my world, Caitlin Becker, joining us from the New York Post? Let me see, Caitlin, please. That means witnesses. See, when I look at that, I see witnesses. Other people say, hey, there's people having a good time. I see witnesses. Do you see all those people?
And a lot of them.
Who were they? Have they been spoken to? Have they been polygraphed? What can they tell me?
That is the question, right? We don't know from an investigative standpoint who has been spoken to, exactly who is in this photo, and what they have or haven't told law enforcement, because there hasn't been really any transparency there. But from what our reporting has showed, there have been dozens of people who have spoken to law enforcement as witnesses. But Nancy, we don't know if it's any of these people that you're seeing in this little cove area right here. And the timing, I think, is really important because these images are taken right around, I think the timeline's about 3:30-ish, 4:30-ish, when the boat that Nolan came out there on leaves and starts taking on water. That's one of the pegs for the timeline. When these photos were actually taken, that is a peg for a timeline. But what we don't know is where Nolan is. There he is. You can see that image right there. But we don't know is where Nolan was when that first.
Nolan is the only black person on this island. I'm convinced personally that there's no black person on there but Nolan. Like, Why is there 1,000 people and none of them black? Mind you, I'm not like a racist person or a segregated person and like that. It's just the facts of what I'm looking at. He came up missing and on the island full of white people. You feel me? So I'm like, I'm really not understanding why nobody seen it, why nobody know what happened, and a whole bunch of other things. I'm gonna keep it real because it doesn't make sense. He got his shirt off, looked like he about to jump off the boat. Looked like I don't see him with no drink. That's nothing. I don't see no drink. Well, it kind of do look like a drink right there. If you look up under the Nancy Grace, it kind of do look like that's a drink right there, but drinking shouldn't get you killed. Keep it real, especially.
Image that we saw with all of those boats kind of tied together when that was taken.
You are seeing a photo obtained by our friends at the United Cajun Navy. And speaking of the United Cajun Navy, joining me now is Brian Trasher, Vice President, United Cajun Navy.
And I like how hard she's going for Nolan, and she's the opposite race. You feel me? Like a lot of people of the opposite race don't really tune in or engage on a lot of things that got to do with the black community. That's the best way I can say it, you know what I'm saying? Because people make it seem like it's just a sad tragedy. In reality, this is a murder. You feel me? So, I don't know, once again, if it was all black people and one white man, and he came up missing, come on, man, everybody on the island going to jail. That would have been a RICO case. I'm going to keep it real.
And for all of you attacking the United Cajun Navy. Let's see that aerial footage they provided us. This is from the Cajun Navy describing their search, their aerial search. They spotted Nolan Wells' body. They have been integral in the search for Nolan Wells and helping elucidate the facts as we know them. Brace yourself, Trasher. Everybody else is getting death threats. You might as well join the party. To you, Brian Trasher, the United Cajun Navy has come up with a timeline. Now, did I hear Caitlin Becker from the New York Post correctly that
Who's getting death threats is what I'm trying to realize. And I'm trying to who's getting death threats? Because in reality, once you getting death threats, that's scream I'm trying to cover something. Well, you better not say nothing, boy. You feel me? Like, why? If Nolan Wells was not murdered, why is all of a sudden people around him getting death threats? That don't even make sense at all.
Photo where the boats are named Boat 1, Boat 2, Boat 3, and Boat X, is that from you guys, the United Cajun Navy?
First of all, I want to thank you for calling this report what it is, and it's a timeline. And some people have called it an investigative report, and that's not accurate because, as you know, we're not investigators. And what we did, Nancy, was we asked our followers, say, hey, if anybody was there that day, you have pictures, videos, whatever, send it to us just so we can go through it, see if there's anything relevant. We took all that information and compiled it into just one digestible report of things we thought were relevant and could be helpful. Maybe they're not. Maybe law enforcement's already seen all this and it's nothing new to them. But we just wanted to.
This is another thing. They said in Nolan's phone, there was a lot of things that was deleted. You think he was the only person that got something deleted off his phone? And he the dead man? You get what I'm saying? I really feel like everybody that was there, whoever's, because there's a ringleader. You get what I'm saying? There's always a ringleader in any situation. Whoever's the ringleader, kingpin in this situation, got everybody's phone, made them delete everything because all of that is digital evidence. I'm surprised this picture is out. But you see how much information that they put together on this one, off this one picture. You get what I'm saying? This one picture is putting so many pieces together. Why do you think when he got his phone back, it was deleted? Everything was deleted. When you on the island, that's the first thing you'll be doing. On live, hey, hop in this camera, taking pictures. This is a digital footprint. You get what I'm saying? So he made whatever it was, made people delete their pictures so they won't get caught. For real.
Transparent about what we received. So going back to your question, the pictures that we received, we did not, as an organization, take any of these photographs. These are all images that we received from people who were trying to help us out and trying to help Nolan's family out.
So you ask the public for help, and you got it. You got a treasure trove of photos, and I find this one significant. Guys, we've got an all-star panel, and I would like the all-star panel to look at their screens, because I've talked about this before, Brian Trasher, and I'm frankly fed up with attacks on the United Cajun Navy. They're doing something, which is more than all of the haters can say. They're doing something. They have amassed evidence. They have created a timeline to the best of their ability. They have shared it with us. Unlike,
This is my first time seeing Nancy Grace. I'm gonna keep it real, and she's not playing. They're like, nothing is funny. She's been very serious the whole time. I'm rocking with how she coming, because she's not playing. And it's people like that, her, Judge Mathis, once like pillars of the community start speaking up, it's gonna get bad for you.
the autopsy that is complete is being kept secret from us. That said, they're helping. Why trash them?
Why?
That's, I'm not a shrink. I can't answer that. Let's look at this photo and determine what, if anything, we can discern. Brian, you and I have talked many, many times, and I told you about a serial
So they keep
killer
saying this same-
I finally convicted on one case. The jury convicted him. And I proved a lot because of one earring. One earring I found in a particular location. The victim was wearing an earring, and the other earring had been sliced out of her ear, and I found it somewhere else, and I learned a lot because of where it was. Now, don't even bother to tell me that this photo that you have produced is not probative of something. The cluster of boats. Number one, I see a lot of witnesses. Trasher, what?
This is another thing I peeped. The boat is not that far from shore at all. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all, but they kept saying Nolan said he wanted to say woo woo, but y'all had his phone. If y'all had his phone, why nobody just went over there and gave him his phone? That does not look like it's far in. The water's not deep. They're all standing up right there. Y'all could have jumped in the water and just walked over there and gave him his phone. Instead, his phone is still at large. That does not make sense. I'm gonna keep it real. Now, if the water was super deep and they far off the shore, this, that, and the third, they say they knew he had his phone. They saying they knew that they had his phone. I'm gonna tell you right now, you got my phone, I need it. I don't care where I'm at. You understand what I'm saying?
Do we know what time this photo was taken?
We don't know definitively times on all these because even though they're time stamped, it could be a time when it was screenshotted, stamped, not necessarily the original photograph. So we were very careful to denote that in our report that we can't verify timelines. Although based on shadows and positions and things like that, we can determine that some of these, as noted, are taken in the late afternoon. One of the things I thought was interesting about some of these photos we got, Nancy, was that a lot of the photos we had seen before were people like in waist deep water. Well, some of the photos we provided show people up, water up to their chest, almost to their neck, and that's not really wading. That's treading water, in my opinion, and that I thought might have been significant to know that many people were, perhaps enjoying some libations, but also in water that might have been a little too deep just to be playing in.
Good point. You also said something else really smart, and I certainly do not want to rely on this, but sometimes you have to, you take the evidence as you find it, and you make the most of what you've got. You said you could tell this was late in the afternoon because of the shadowing. I wonder if the tide could tell me anything, because how high up the water is. But these people holding drinks, they're not treading water, Trasher. They're standing there. These people are not treading water, and the water is up to their armpits. Is that the photo you're talking about as to where you think some of them are treading water, or are there other photos?
The photo at the top, yeah, you're right. It's about up to their armpit. I think there was one later in the report that that showed some of the kids. This was a screenshot of a social media post, and there's 3 boats visible, one fourth boat further in the distance, but a lot of kids on one boat. I say kids, young people on one boat, some on the boat, some in the water, and some of them it looks, maybe.
So you telling me when this fight broke out and Nolan Wells was killed, nobody seen it? Every picture I've not seen where it's not a lot of people. You get what I'm saying? Like it's so many people everywhere I see. I don't see why this shouldn't even been a case. This should be a closed case for real, because there's not no witnesses. Excuse me. What would get people convicted of a case? Witness and evidence. The autopsy is being covered up, and there's no witnesses. You get what I'm saying? Even when I watched, I'm probably gonna do a reaction on that. When I watched his friend interview about, you feel me, what happened or whatever, he didn't seem remorseful. He didn't seem, not saying like remorseful like he did it, like he didn't seem like sad. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you ask me personally, that doesn't make sense. If something happened to my friend and I do an interview, I'm gonna drop at least one tear. Teary-eyed, like I'm gonna look crazy, something like. He was up there damn near happy. You feel me? So, I don't know. Looking at it, it's like, it looked like everybody just linked up at Horn Island with multiple boats and was just turned up. But how nobody know what happened to Nolan Wells? And why he ain't in none of these pictures? If these pictures happen afterwards, did people clear out after he died? Where did his body go? You feel me? Drop in the comments.
Up to the armpit, but some of them, depending on their own height, it looks like it's, you know, I could see a girl holding something in her hand and the water looks to be pretty close to her neck. So that's pretty far out. Now, we've said several times that Horn Island has a very aggressive slope, so you can be in shallow water and deep water within just a few steps. And once you get into that deep water, you're not as able to keep your feet on the ground if a current comes and pulls you, or God forbid a riptide comes and drags you. So that's why we thought it was significant to know that they were socializing in fairly deep water.
Can we go back to the main photo where the boats are numbered 1, 2, 3, X? Isn't it true, Brian Trasher, that these boats are easily identifiable by I call it a tail number, like you would a plane? Every boat has to be registered, or supposed to be registered. It has a number on it, and it often has a name like Triton. One was named Mac Daddy. There were other names. They're registered, and you know who the owner is, and the owner can tell us who was on the boat that day. Is that correct?
Theoretically, yeah. If you can make out the registration number or the name of the boat, if the vessel's name is registered, you know, along with the registration number. Usually that's sometimes only on a Coast Guard document, but sometimes on a state registration you do put the vehicle, the boat name if it's asked for, or if you have one. So that is all possible. You know, I'm told, and we're asked to compare notes.
The owner of that boat was in on it, man. They made a call and said the boat is sinking. For one, I don't see no boat sinking. And for two, the water's not that deep. You get what I'm saying? How's the water not that deep, but y'all saying y'all boat was sinking? And they asked, do y'all want us to send the Coast Guard? Y'all said no. The owner of the boat told them they don't need no help. If you telling me, mind you, if I got a boat, just theoretically, if I got a boat and I'm letting my little nephew and his friends get on there, and they call me and say, okay, the boat is sinking, this, that, and the third, because that's what they called it, the Coast Guard, and said, whatever the helpline, whatever it was. Bro, go get my boat out the water. That ain't y'all boat. So it's like, the fact that the person in the boat, who it was, didn't let them call the police, or didn't get help, or there wasn't no insurance claim on the boat, there was nothing wrong with the boat to begin with. Nobody's talking about that. Nothing was wrong with the boat to begin with. That's why they called the help, trying to figure out. I really don't know why they called them, because it doesn't make sense. But mind you, these are 18, 19-year-old kids. So maybe they didn't think it was gonna get this far. Let's start there. They pay, he drowned, this, that, and the third. We on Horn Island. He a black guy, this, that, and the third. My people rich, we good. No. You can have the most money in the world. When it come down to the feds, come down to the police, money can't buy you out. And money can't buy your freedom. That's one thing money cannot buy, is your freedom. When you got a no bond, you got life in prison. Money can't get you out. You feel me? So I think that's what they thought was gonna happen.
With the sheriff's office, which we're doing, but I was told that there's been a lot of people that have been contacted and interviewed, and there's a lot of people who were there that day that voluntarily came forward to
was the
tell
last
what they
place I
know,
was.
and because they might have seen their boats and pictures, said, "Oh, we might want to go ahead and call them, and let them know, where we were, who was with us, and what we know."
And I've seen 3 pictures
So I
so far.
commend those people for coming
This one,
forward, because it's not
the
always easy.
boats, and
To
one with
Marie
the young
Pereira
boat.
joining us in addition to the Vice President of the United Cajun Navy, who has been there from the get-go trying to help solve the case. Marie Pereira, registered nurse, which is important, but she is a criminal defense attorney and domestic violence expert. She is a violence expert certified advocate. Marie, you saw that. All those people in my book are witnesses. One of them is saying at 7:30 Nolan was nowhere to be seen. Now, I want to
7:30
see the video or the photo again, because you want to tell me that this guy, Nolan Wells, hit his head and drowned and none of those people saw what happened? I find that really hard
That's
to
exactly what I
believe.
said.
It is hard to believe, and that's why it's extremely important that the law enforcement are not too proud to get help from the public. Like you
I can tell
said,
she's kind of like
if
jelly.
people are sending in videos, they should be using those videos to conduct further investigation. I'm praying
See,
that this is a situation like Brian Koberger, where the police department, they were being ragged and
that's a
being called
fact.
ranky-dink police, while all the time they were investigating and putting together a case against him. I hope yeah, because all the time they were saying, "Oh, what are they
That is
doing?"
a
It was
lot of
I
people,
think
bro.
the DA had a long, big beard, which wasn't very conducive to believing he knew what he was doing, but they knew what they were
I
doing.
know, it looked like Leonard Skinner sitting there. Hey, that videos from Officer Tatum's podcast. All this means witnesses to me. And do you remember in the Diddy case, there was actually a toll-free number for victims to call? There were that many victims. Not that it helped at the trial, but that said, I think there needs to be a toll-free number. If you think you have evidence, dial the number. If you have photos like the United Cajun Navy is doing, they asked for the public's help. They got the public's help, and there's more to get. That's what is needed now. Every picture, every video. How often have cases been cracked when someone spots something in a picture they hadn't noticed before, or their memory is jogged by a photo or information they've seen online? I've pointed to this a million times. Brian Trasher, the Gabby Petito case.
Let me tell you right now, any case, like any example, witnesses and evidence, you get what I'm saying? There's no way possible in the human world that this man died around all these people and nobody knows nothing. Nobody's seen nothing. No one called the police. You get in trouble just for walking down the street and see a dead body and keep walking. That's damn near bogus. Like, you damn near bogus for that. But this supposedly y'all friend. That's like somebody dying at Kings Island. Where's the people on the island at? That's another thing. Like, what is Horn Island exactly? I don't see like an amusement park, nothing. Like, it's an hour. It takes an hour to get there. What are y'all even going there for? To drink?
Her body would never have been found if it weren't for amateur sleuths. I believe their name is Red, Blue, and Methane.
Red Cross?
They were a couple out in the middle of nowhere in dispersed camping where there are no porta potties, no lights, no hookups, no anything. It's just you and the wild animals. I've camped and dispersed before. They're out there and they see a vehicle and they go, that's Gabby's Ford Transit. And they call authorities who would never have gone to this dispersed camping area, and they find her remains. That's how the case was cracked. Who knows what photo, what tip United Cajun Navy or law enforcement or the Nolan Wells team might get that might crack this case wide open. So that said, Brian, how did you create this timeline? I find it very interesting.
So first of all, going back to your comment about internet sleuths, a lot of people consider themselves internet sleuths, but some people really are good. And there's one young lady who's helped us out on many cases, who was very helpful in this case. I haven't asked her permission yet if I could say her name, but if she gives me permission and I come back on, I'll be happy to give her credit for all the help she gave us. But basically, what we did was we took, like I said, we took these pictures, we juxtaposed them to, like Google Earth and satellite pictures of the island to try to determine exactly where they were. We looked at the initial coordinates called out from the I think from the Coast Guard or from Marine Patrol when the missing persons report first went out, and basically just try to run these pictures against each other to say, okay, this boat's here now, it's not here later. And again, just create an index. We had to use some software to help us create the index of the pictures and make sure we put it into the best timeline we could. We included social media posts that, may or may not have been definitive, but this was happening in real time. So we thought it was important to put those up there to create context. And so again, like just trying to, our goal was to take what we've received, put it into a digestible format that just about anybody could understand, hopefully. And if it's helpful, great. If it's not, then I don't think, no harm, no foul,
To Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter, based on this timeline, and it may be refined as the days go forward, how does it shift the timeline? Because there is a...
Well, it just came to me. Do you know 80% of the time, 90% of the time, 98.6% of the time, when somebody fight, the first thing somebody gonna do is this? That's the first thing someone does. You get what I'm saying? So for no one to have this on camera, he died right after the fight, is what is the conclusion that everybody's going to. There was a fight, ooh, this, that, and the third. And it looks like he was on boat X. Because in one picture, there's boat 1, 2, X, 3, and the one that the person is taking it from, and one of the distance. You go back to the picture, boat X is missing. Nolan Wells is missing. You get what I'm saying? And it just flashed quick. Fight video. Why y'all not showing the fight video? That right there, anybody that's included in the fight need to be polygraphed, locked up. I'm gonna keep it real. And all of above.
group of people fighting at 5 p.m. Who are they?
Excuse me.
The friends say they leave at 4:31. That should be able to be verified through GPS. 5 p.m. Nolan, according to them, is still at Horn Island. Is he? Because by 7:30, witness states Nolan nowhere in sight. So where was he? He wasn't floating in the water. He wasn't on the shore. If he had, hold on, Dave, to Joe Scott Morgan, if he had drowned, wouldn't
His body gonna float.
he be floating in the water?
100%.
Perhaps. I've seen bodies in the immediate that will go directly to the bottom. And there are those that do in fact float. So a lot of it is going to depend upon the temperature of the water many times. A lot of it's going to depend upon, is there anything else out there that could, let's see, how can I put this, that could in fact impede the body's ability to float to the top, like beneath a boat. And as you can see, there are a lot of boats out there. So if in fact that had occurred, you can actually have bodies that will be caught beneath other vessels. I've worked cases like that where they were looking around for someone and they couldn't find them because the whole area was surrounded by vessels.
This is what I don't understand. If his body was found right there, what is the island? It's literally just a piece of land? I don't know, man. We just gonna come back with a part 2. I really don't understand this Nolan Wells, and it's kind of making me emotional right now. You get what I'm saying? So we gonna come back on a part 2. Drop in the comments what you think is happening. Shout out Nancy Grace, man. For real. She real serious about this case, and shit. She should be for real. It's another loss for a black community. and it's a sad day in the black community. Magic One TV out.